Asantewaa Boakye urges government mainstream public-private partnership to bridge infrastructure gap. SkyTrain project followed due process, Gate clarifies. Mahama's broken promise a slap in the face to women and a betrayal of the Ghanaian voter. The Insight newspaper. Ahead of State of the Nation address by President John Mahama, economist calls for full disclosure on Ghana's total debt stock, foreign reserve, fiscal deficit, free SHS cost, others. UT Bank shut down an economic injustice, says Sam Jonah. John Mahama's 120-day social contract, SMG Women's Wing, speaks on promise for free sanitary pads, Women's Development Bank. Slavery in America, how black prisoners organized for dignity in Angola, Louisiana's modern-day plantation. The Informer. Amid warning from IES, Energy Minister meets industry players over Dumso. Let's be candid in our advice, Doajahu urges Council of State. Corruption in the public sector, incentivize internal auditors to deliver. National Education Forum, stakeholders urge government to adopt Chemupe, demand strict use of GET Fund. Agenda 111 project, government adopt PPP towards its improvement. The Inquisitor. Ghana must begin planning life without aid, Thomas Ampem. VRA staff on high alert to crush saboteurs of CEO. Adomako Befi blast Eugene Ahin. No data loss in ICOM's upgrade. And as Ghana Link allays fear and panic. The Herald newspaper. Mahama withdraws controversial ENI Springfield unitization directive, rescues Ghana's oil and gas sector. National security probes Prestia Bogoso mine saga as legal battle leaves townfolks impoverished. Nomination for military observer duties hit by partisan claims. Army commander accused of favoring MPP loyalists. President revisits Akufo-Addo and Addison 77 billion cedis currency printing scandal. Assures Etsiama, I will not ask you to print more money. MPA promises seamless cylinder recirculation. The Daily Statesman. BOG governor pledges to strengthen forex market. Mahama's $1.7 billion cost estimate for Agenda 111 completion inaccurate. Prioritize PPPs for infrastructure development. Asensu Oponkoma proposed to government. Akufo-Addo applauds Merz win in German election. The Ghanaian Publisher. Don't blame Afenyo-Markin for MPP's low votes in Ashanti, Dr. Kofi Boateng. Stop sacking workers, TUC tells Mahama. Mainstream PPPs to bridge infrastructure gap upon Kroma to government. The Accra Times. Swearing in of Governor of Bank of Ghana, Mahama blames Akufo-Addo Bawumia over banking sector mess, says narrow focus informed the cleanup. Fear grips Wale Wale as MP weeps in Parliament. Recognize unit committee members, Domi Kwamenya MP demands. Ayariga woos investors, assures them of favorable environment. Cylinder recirculation model, MPA boss assures seamless implementation. The Daily Post. I will not ask you to print more money, President Mahama to Bank of Ghana governor. Recording meetings, leaking of internal memo, new NEIP boss details or deals with staff. Anodon press served with substituted service. We will lay off workers whose names appear on payroll after December 2016, or Safo Mafo. Well, that obviously is it's an old story, but I get it. Daily Searchlight. Major scandal. Achimota as speculator rips off Market Women Assembly involvement suspected. Akwetia MP scurries to Supreme Court to quash contempt of court against him. Our leaders need to have their priorities right, Dr. Tete. And Mincom's CEO under pressure. Metro Lens. No political interference. Instructions to print more money. President Mahama to BOG. Government cracks down on opioid trade. Health Minister vows to stop illicit importation and sale. Stop mass sackings in public sector. TUC warns President Mahama. SkyTrain project followed due process. Joe Garte to NIB. And finally, the Business and Financial Times, BNFT, reforms, stability tops BOG governor agenda. GASALC advocates policy reforms to strengthen non-bank financial sector. Youth bulge fueling unemployment. That's it for the big headlines on the front pages of the newspapers. I'll be back with my guests who are here. I'll be duly introducing them, and then the conversation will start. Please stay with us.
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath.
I'm a fair missy way.
Prepare your bantama.
Matias.
That's so cycle.
It's her smile.
The fresh breath.
Me Jidi say we use Kel 360 toothpaste. Some kind. Kel 360 toothpaste.
Gaskia, Kel 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector.
Onim jom kasa. Kile hosen. Kel 360 did the one. It's cool mint. Gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
And you will see so feeling kika when you know Kel 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Kel 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Kel, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
Fire pomudi ni agubi. Ghana fueni aji. If you say ya your local spices na ya frafra dia ya sankofa natural spice.
Me de gumi jollof mu. Ni mi si wa hodoma. Emane dance.
Stanley, the barbecue they go on.
Sankofa natural spices. And one you use 100% natural. Said the yepen.
Adofo, mamunye huge mistake. Sankofa natural spices. The
FDA ejedi nkratu yatu.
Look around.
Home also need a makeover.
Mine clearly does. So we went to Ashroom and found the Como collection. It had everything we're looking for and more. Matching furniture for the entire home, designed with you in mind.
Where's Como collection? Dressing up is just a breeze. Always ready with a perfect accessory.
A magic dressing mirror. One look and you're ready to face the world. Or at least the kids.
A bed perfect for young men who want
a table that turns into a treasure chest.
And finally, a sofa with this grand TV unit for family time at home.
Head over to any Ashphone store now and discover the new Como collection. Ashphone, feel it, know it.
Origins Energy Drink.
Fire pomudi ni agobi Ghana fu ni age efri say ya your local spices na ya frafra dia ya sankofa natural spice
me de go me jollof mu ni me still ahodoma e ma ne dance
Stanley, the barbecue the go on.
sankofa natural spices and one you use 100% natural said the happen
Adofo, mamunye huge mistake. Sankofa natural spices. The
FDA ji ejedi nkratu yatu.
Hello, my friends. My name is Kel-Kate Toothpaste.
Wow.
I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky whiter, chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Kel-Kate, happy smile.
All right, so welcome back to Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. And my name is Audu Moro. Joining me this morning for what promises to be, as usual, a very interesting and a very thought-provoking conversation is the managing editor of the Insight newspaper. That's Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr. He's my guest on Good Morning Ghana. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning.
Also joining us this morning is the MP for Efija Kwabre. That's Collins Adumako, and he's also joined us on Good Morning Ghana this morning. That's Collins Adumako Mensah Efija Kwabre, and also a former Deputy Energy Minister. Collins, it's good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning.
That's Kwabre North, actually. Kwabre
Yes.
North, actually.
Yes.
Kwabre North, yes, I get that. Kwabre North. Thank you very much for that. So, I want us to start with a story which I'll call this is very personal to me, because I've been on this crusade for some time now, and it has to do with the way we're treated when we go seeking for visas from these embassies. If you look at the page 13 of today's Daily Graphic newspaper, the story reads that Minister urges foreign missions to improve conditions at visa centers. And Timothy Goba, a very one of the hardworking and very popular reporters at Daily Graphic, reports that the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, has directed all embassies and high commissions in the country to put in place appropriate and humane conditions at their visa centers to create a more convenient environment for applicants. The directive follows the numerous complaints by the public about how Ghanaian citizens are usually treated when they visit foreign missions in Ghana for visa applications. Speaking to the Daily Graphic in Accra yesterday, Mr. Ablakwa said, our ministry has engaged embassies and high commissions over issues such as not providing conducive waiting areas, non-availability of emergency services, long waiting times for appointing dates, as well as challenges in using visa application websites. What is the expectation? To address these concerns, the ministry has dispatched a note verbal to all embassies and high commissions, urging them to put in place appropriate and humane conditions at their embassies, high commissions, and visa centers Is the ministry's expectation that foreign missions will respond positively and appropriately to the request. He said the ministry would continue to ensure that the embassies and high commissions complied with the directive stated in the note verbal, while acknowledging that embassies and high commissions reserve the right to determine who they issue visas to. Mr. Blakwa assured the public that the ministry was committed to addressing the concerns of Ghanaian visa applicants. I mean, I went on social media and I noticed, and I'll start with you today, Collins, in an unusual fashion. I went on social media and I noticed that there were many Ghanaians who were very, very excited about this intervention from the Foreign Affairs Ministry. It tells you the extent to which people have faced all kinds of unjust and unfair treatment from these embassies. What do you make of this story?
Well, good morning to yourself, to our viewers, and Kwesi, my constituents. Good morning. I read this note verbal, as you put it, a few days ago.
Right.
On social media. And initially, I was wondering whether it was a directive. And I'm sure Kwesi is here in international diplomacy, whether we could be instructing embassies that way. But I realized it was more of an admonition, which is, I think, is okay. I've had my own experiences with embassies.
Okay.
Of course.
Tell me about it.
You go and the queues are incredibly long.
Yeah.
Even now, the U.S. Embassy, to even get an appointment, sometimes they tell you to come in 2026. I mean, you're applying to go to the U.S. now.
In 2025.
And they are giving you an appointment in 2026. This was even last year. They'll tell you come in 2026 for an appointment. Really, I've had students from my constituency who have gained admission to universities in the U.S. All they need is an appointment to get the visas, and they are being told to come in 2026 when the school reopens in September 2024. So these are issues that are quite worrying. I've always had issue about the application fees. You apply sometimes $200, $300. Your visa is rejected, and these are non-refundable payments. You can imagine the amount of money the embassies are making. When you go to the U.S. embassy and you see the number of people who are applying to get visas. You go to the UK embassy, and you are paying $200, $300 at a current rate of 15.7 or so. That's about $3,000, $3,500 per person. So if you have about 1,000 people applying, that's quite an amount. If 500 people are rejected, you don't get your money back and all that. So it's a good call. I hope that when you go to Abilimpe, where I normally go through the Canadian, where they take their biometrics, people are just standing outside in the sun. There are no provisions for sitting areas and all that. So I think it's a good call. And I'm happy that the report says that he has already engaged his colleague, foreign counterparts on this issue. And I think that is the way to go. You engage first, and then this letter comes as a follow-up, just to reiterate the concerns. And the letter says that there are a lot of concerns from Ghanaians. And as you rightly put, I've also looked on social media, the number of people who are excited about this.
Right.
I'm not too sure whether this is more of a directive for them to follow. You know, that's where my concern. I think maybe Kwesi can explain more to us.
I doubt if they have the right to direct.
I'm not too sure. So I don't know how that will play out. But of course, I mean, as a foreign minister, it is the duty of, it is his duty to ensure that citizens who want to go on holiday, just as they also come on holiday and they are given all the beautiful treatment that they get from our consulates in their countries. I think we're also entitled to get. So I'm happy about the initial conversation that is going on. I hope that it will yield the necessary results. And again, this will also go to us as Ghanaians. I mean, sometimes you meet some of them, why are you going to the US? Why are you going to the UK? And the kind of conversation you engage with them, you wonder why you want to go to the US in the first place.
Yeah.
To go through this kind of treatment.
Yeah.
You know, Ghana is a beautiful country. Yes, we have our challenges. If it's not necessary to go, I think it's better to stay in house and help develop the country.
Ongwesi.
Well, I mean, the cardinal principle in diplomacy is that you do unto me, you know, what I do unto you.
Reciprocity.
Exactly. That's the cardinal principle in diplomacy.
Yeah.
And I think that if our leaders began to respect themselves and also to project a good image of our country, most of these things would not happen. I mean, look, the way some of these diplomats, especially from the Western countries, talk down to our ministers and so on, it's terrible. This happens because of a total lack of respect for our leaders, for our institutions, and for our citizens. And I think that it's about time that our leaders, you know, themselves demonstrated that they respected themselves. And if they did that, perhaps some of these things would not happen. You understand? If Ghanaians applying for visa to a particular country are denied access to the embassy premises and have to stand in the sun, citizens of those countries who are also applying for visas to Ghana must be treated the same way. If they are charging $200 per visa application, we should also charge $200 for visa application. Finish.
Do we have the kahunas to do that?
We have what?
The kahunas to do that. Do we
what
have
is kahunas about this?
Okay. Do we have the
That's the cardinal
courage
principle.
to do that?
Well, it's about leadership. That's what I'm talking about.
I was talking about. Yeah, that's the blame.
I pass there every day.
Yeah.
I pass there every day. You know, I mean, look, I don't want to talk about specific instances. On what basis would a president of our republic, you know, go to the house of a high commissioner or of an ambassador? On what basis? But it happens here. You know, our ministers, they are in and out of residence of ambassadors and high commissioners, you know, like flies. And if you do that, do you expect any respect for yourself and for your country? You understand? I mean, before the last elections, you had the U.S. ambassador warning our leaders that if they don't conduct themselves well, I mean, they would discipline them.
They will not get visits.
And we tolerate this.
Yeah.
You know, which Ghanaian ambassador in the U.S. would have the nerve to interfere in U.S. elections, tell them what rules to apply and what rules not to apply? But we tolerate it here. Everybody, without exception, seeking to become president of the Republic of Ghana will go to the U.S. embassy to give them assurances and make all kinds of foolish statements. Why would they not treat us like garbage if you, the leader, the presidential candidate, you know, lower yourself, put yourself so low? What about me or him? You understand? So I don't think that there's anything wrong with the call by His Excellency. Blackwell now is His Excellency, isn't it? As Foreign Minister, is His Excellency.
I didn't know that.
Yes, he is. He is.
Oh, okay. I know the ambassadors are called so. But
Yeah, the Foreign Minister also bears the title of Excellency.
Oh, okay.
And I'm happy that His Excellency Blackwell is raising these issues. And I know that he's a serious person and holds himself very high, you know. And so, bottom line is respect for us, respect for our country, and so on. In any case, look, we are getting into a new situation in the world. Yesterday, did you hear the British Prime Minister announce that they are cutting foreign aid or diverting foreign aid to shore up their military strength?
Yeah.
Donald Trump has already, thrown an axe
Yeah.
into U.S. aid and so on. So our politicians must realize that the salvation is not going to come from the Western countries.
True.
And they should stand up, and be our representatives. They should stop behaving behaving the way they have been behaving over the years.
I anticipate Europe will follow suit. I anticipate, in terms of the European Union.
Yeah, and sometimes the impression is created that these countries, are benefactors. Without them, we would not survive. When the reverse is true. For example, France. If France's neo-colonial domination of its former colonies ends, the French economy will collapse. It is the African countries which are sustaining France. It's not the other way around.
Yeah.
And yet our leaders, continue to behave like house niggers. Anytime they are going to take a measure, they are thinking about what would be the attitude of the ambassador, of some country and so on. Is that how they treat our ambassadors? Let's get real and stop this.
But Collins, this is not the first time this matter has come up. If you read through, if you do your search, you'll come to the realization that it's a call which has been made to these embassies for the longest time. So if we still continue to record these kinds of ill treatment that has been meted out to our people, should we continue to to be admonishing them? Shouldn't we take the next step?
Let me give you a personal experience. I led a team from the ministry to Vienna for some negotiations. I don't tend to mention the country. And before we went...
You mentioned the country already, Vienna.
No, the meeting was held in Vienna.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And then before we left, the technical people had given me a brief. And, we had made some amendment to the text where we felt that the country was being shortchanged. Then during the meeting, when I insisted that no, we need to have this changed, the meeting came to an abrupt end. They said, no, you have to go back to superiors and all that. Interesting, when I came back, I got a call from some big people within our space, asking me why I was so strong in my points. And buttressing your point that we give ourselves to them sometimes.
Not all of us, our leaders.
Yes.
Our leaders are still to a very large
calling me
extent.
and telling me that. Why did you do this? Why did you do that? I think we need to respect ourselves. I've seen almost all heads of states of this country visit embassies, sometimes on official occasions.
Yeah.
I've not brought my thoughts to how Ankwesi has narrated the effect of that, but I've seen most of our leaders go to embassies to have discussions with them, and sometimes even before elections, you see these ambassadors visiting the presidential candidate in their homes and having discussions with them the way forward. I recall the directive that came from the United States before the election, that anybody who involves himself in some election malpractices will not get visas and all that. So I get Ankwesi, and that sometimes maybe our attitude also gives us out, makes our foreign counterparts emboldened to treat some of our citizens this way. Because as I said, I've experienced it. You go to almost all the places where you can get a visa, where you take your biometrics, and it's quite chaotic. You see a lot of people standing and all that. I pray that this approach by the new foreign minister will bring some sanity into the system. And as I said, I'm happy with his initial approach of engaging them and letting them know the sentiment of the Ghanaian people. How do you apply for visa and the appointment is in 2 years' time?
Yeah.
Really?
That doesn't make sense.
Look, very incredible things happen.
Really?
Prominent Ghanaians, probably a head of department, so applies for a visa to a country. And then this consular officer, not even the consular,
some
very low-grade diplomat, is sitting in the cage and asking you to prove that you return to your country.
Yes.
I mean, what an insult. And we take it. I mean, what an insult.
I tell you, in this experience, Parliament, we're embarking on an official,
what do you find wrong
official
with that?
trip. Bro, let me just give
wrong
you
with it.
Why?
Why do they assume that their countries are heaven? And that we want to escape from hell to their countries?
Yeah, but isn't that impression we create to them?
But that's the point I'm making.
Yes.
I'm talking about the problem being with our leaders,
yes,
who lie prostrate before these diplomats.
Yeah, so I'm saying, don't blame them, blame us.
No, all.
I think
that a large part of the blame goes to our leaders, who have no dignity, who have no sense of dignity. You understand? Who lie prostrate before these diplomats, especially from the Western countries. That's where the problem is.
I think.
Look, and you have traveled quite a bit. You travel around the world, and when you get to the airport, there are different lines. One for foreigners and one for citizens. You see how the citizens line runs very fast. You have no hassles.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
When you come to Ghana, the line for foreigners, fast. You understand?
The other way around.
The other way around.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
Sheer disrespect.
You understand? Complete disrespect for us. And I think we've got to stand up. I mean, this reset agenda
must include that.
Must include, our leaders demonstrating a certain level of dignity, in their dealings with other countries and other representatives of other countries and so on.
Yeah.
The reset agenda must include the effort, to dignify, the Ghanaian citizen, to dignify our country and so on. We have to do that.
We have to stop treating them as tin gods.
We were going on an official trip
Yes.
to France, Paris, for the Olympics, part of the sports committee. So Parliament, everything is being paid by Parliament and all that. I got a call from the French consulate that I should bring my bank statement. I asked them, what is the bank statement for? They want to find out whether I'll be able to take care of myself.
Parliamentary delegation.
Parliament delegation, I'm telling you.
And you still went?
No, and I told him that I will not do that. If that is the case, then I'm not going. Then they called Parliament. I think there was a conversation here and there.
Yes.
Later on, he called to apologize. I said, no.
They want to know whether you have strong social,
No, but I'm not going. I'm not even going on my own.
Yes.
This is a parliamentary delegation. There's a letterhead from Parliament with the members of Parliament who are attending the program. And they said we should go and bring our bank statement. Personal bank statement to show that we can take care of ourselves.
I mean, that's how low.
Yeah, so it's quite interesting sometimes.
And they're thinking that, look, their countries are, it's heaven, as Uncle Kwesi said. And so when we go, we don't want to come back. And that's why they put all these fetters and impediments on our way.
When I hear the threats,
it's just terrible.
Ghanaian officials, Ghanaian leaders, that if you don't behave, if you don't follow our directions and so on, we refuse you a visa. I laugh. It's as if their countries are heaven. They are not heaven, for goodness sake. Why? I'm sure that you are quite familiar with the streets of New York.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you feel comfortable in the streets of New York? The homeless people, the insecurity, and so on. And they still think that those places are heaven. They are not heaven.
Well, if you look at the number of visa applications that they receive, Uncle Kwesi, it may not bear this fact. I mean, quite clearly, there's a certain craze for traveling abroad, especially when it comes to America. And so in as much as I agree with you that we don't have to see these countries as heaven, unfortunately, I want to disappoint you. Majority of our people see America as heaven. And that's why
but that's our fault.
Visa application is unbelievable.
That is our fault.
Yes.
That is because people like you and I do not tell the truth, about the state of those countries.
Yeah.
And the places that they make look like heaven.
I agree, because some of them go and regret
it. If the media
regret it,
is to tell the truth and so on, our people would not be in a hurry to visit those countries and so on.
Yeah.
I had an experience, I think, in 1979. I was in Philadelphia, And I had a strange visit by a Ghanaian who had been there for 3 years.
Uncle is 1979.
Why?
It makes you feel very alienated. Okay, so you're not being fair to him.
I'm not being fair to the 83-year bombs.
Please cite a different example. We'll beg you.
No problem.
An example we can relate.
Okay.
Yes.
But I'm in my hotel, and this guy comes to me and he says he's Ghanaian. And I'm wondering how he got to know that I was in the hotel in the first place, you know. And then he invites me to his home. So I agree, and then we start moving and say, so it's only a few blocks away. And we keep walking and walking for more than 1 hour. It turns out that he doesn't have money on him for transportation.
Yeah.
You know, so we had to walk 1 hour to get to his home. And do you know what his home was? He was living in an uncompleted building.
Oh, I see.
In winter, without heating and anything. So we get there, and this guy decides to give me lunch, and he brings out the condo. And apparently it's some condo that he got from Ghana or he took from Ghana and so on, completely rotten and smelly. That's what he's going to eat. And then after preparing the banku and so on, there was no fish, no meat. So I had to buy it. So I turned to him and I said, my brother, Ashite, why are you here? Why are you here? I mean, in Ghana, even if you are unemployed, your conditions of life will be better than this one. You know? And he said, well, I've been here for 3 years, and I can't go back to Osu empty-handed. They will laugh at me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stay here and slave till I manage to get something to go back home. Listen, that's the condition. I mean, those places are not heaven. They are not heaven, you know. In most places, there's nothing there. You know, I'd rather stay in Kutubabi down than to stay in some parts of the United States of America.
Anyway, so let's look at another issue. Tomorrow is a big day. I mean, the president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, is going to be addressing the state and giving us the state of the nation, and it's a very important constitutional and democratic exercise. If you look at today's daily graphic, page 3, it's okay. So that's I was actually reading the story earlier, just a while ago. Good. So President Mahama delivers maiden state for the nation address tomorrow. Now, Kester Abraham Kranche reports that President John Dramani Mahama will deliver his first message on the state of the nation tomorrow, during which is expected to tell Ghanaians and the global community the true state of affairs in all sectors of the economy. The weakness and strengths inherited will inform the responses and measures the president and his government will spell out, with the solutions grounded in what his party has already promised to do in reviving and growing the economy. As he delivers his first State of the Nation address, a constitutional requirement that promises to be a defining moment for his historic second-term administration, the Minister of State for Government Communication, Felix Kwacho-Fosu, hinted last week that President Mahama would major on and delve deeply into the current economic situation, what his administration inherited, and the plans moving forward to ensure economic revival. Aside from the economy, insiders suggest that President Mahama would also touch on key sectors, including the energy, because there is a deep gap of financial deficit to close, education, because a reform is imminent, as well as healthcare, where there will be much to say about the ambitious Agenda 111 of the previous government and infrastructure development, for which the electronic transfer levy was introduced, which the president has promised to abolish. He's also expected to address pressing national issues such as the recent investigations into alleged corruption and corruption-related cases involving past government officials, unemployment, and lingering concerns over electricity supply shortages. President Mahama is expected to address the challenges of completing infrastructure projects initiated by the previous administration, including the 80 hospitals under Agenda 111. This project, which requires approximately $2 billion to complete, has significant implications for the country's fiscal position. President Mahama is also likely to discuss the government's ongoing engagement with development partners such as the IMF and the World Bank. These discussions are crucial in renegotiating Ghana's existing agreement to align with the country's current needs and aspirations. And the story goes on and on and on. Collins, what are your expectations personally as the President delivers the State of the Nation address?
Well, as you said, he's going to fulfill a constitutional requirement. He has already told us what the state of the nation is when he met the TUC,
the labor unions.
He said Akufo-Addo left a crime scene. That the way and manner the economy was managed was criminally minded. So he has already given a verdict of the state of the nation as he met it. We are just waiting for the details of the criminally minded attitude of Akufo-Addo's government and its appointees. Probably tomorrow will give us an opportunity, we'll give him an opportunity to give us details of that. And then I'm sure by next week we'll begin to debate the details of what he termed as criminally minded people and Akufo-Addo. Already he has pronounced on the Agenda 111. His claim is that only one was completed. I've also listened to officials in Akufo-Addo's government who were involved in Agenda 111 dispute that and say that 3 were commissioned. In fact, I know that 3 were commissioned, but His Excellency, based on the information he has, says only 1 was completed. I'm sure when it comes to SONA, he can clarify that for all of us. On the issue of the energy...
But do you have any, in relation to Agenda 111, do you have any contrary information?
Yes, 3.
About Agenda
the ones that were completed.
The ones that were completed.
Yes.
Because the President said there was only 1. And even the 1, there aren't any equipment in there. It's almost like a shell.
I'm saying that the one who was in charge of Agenda 111 at the presidency has come out to say that 3 were completed and commissioned. And on the day of the commissioning, there were media men there. There are pictures on even Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo's Facebook page.
Were they ready to be used?
I'm coming.
Put to use.
The president says that there were no beds. And I'm saying that there are pictures on Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo's page.
I get that.
That shows that the media men who were present took pictures of a hospital with beds.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that tomorrow is an opportunity for him on the floor of Parliament for him to give some details. But I'm also aware that you don't need anybody to tell you what the state of the nation is. I mean, the Ghanaian people, those who feel it, know it. You get the point?
Right.
This is where the rhetoric by the NDC when Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, any time he presents his SONA, the point has been that the Ghanaians feel it, and so you don't need him to tell us. I'm sure the young ones who have been sacked feel it. The young ones who have been asked to go home, the teachers, the nurses, the letter that came from the National Service Secretariat that everybody should go home. They know their states as a people. They don't need His Excellency to tell them what the state of the nation is. Last week I was in Kumasi, the lights were off. Goes off at 6, comes out at 1 a.m. Although we've been told by the minister that they have procured alternative fuel that will keep the light on. And so those in my constituency, and I'm sure you've also experienced some light-offs, you know your situation. You get a point, you know your situation. So let's wait for the president. It is his first SONA. Yes, it's very significant because it's an opportunity for him to tell the story as he knows it. And then we, the citizens of this country, we also tell our story as we know it on different platforms. Of course, maybe you give me another opportunity to come here to discuss it and have an opportunity on the floor to also discuss it. So let's wait and see how it goes. But yes, I've seen that security arrangements are being put in place in Parliament. Members of Parliament have been asked to be seated latest by 9:15 because the President intends to be there as early as possible. Soonest normally take about an hour and a half or 2 hours for him to read through his speech, and so hopefully by midday we should be able to complete the whole process. So all I can say is I wish him well. But of course, the true state of the nation, the Ghanaian people feel it. And we are just waiting to see whether the president will feel what we feel when he makes his statement.
But in all of this, are you mindful of the fact that the state of the nation as the president is about to deliver, it will be the state of the nation as you have bequeathed him?
Well, he's been in power since January.
Yes.
He's been there. February is about to end.
Yes.
So he's been there for two months. So yes, he will indicate how the country was handed over to him.
What he has inherited.
Yes. But it's also important that he also tells us what has been done within the first 2 months. And I'm saying that within the first 2 months, there was a blanket call for people to be sacked. Others are home. People are complaining. That is also the state of the nation. I also expect him to speak to those issues, those things that have happened within the 2 months that he's been in power. I'm saying that we are experiencing some intermittent light-offs. That is part of his legacy.
Okay.
From January to date, petrol prices have gone up 3 times from January to date. I'm not sure that is Akufo-Addo's government. That is Mr. John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency's SONA. So I'm saying that Ghanaians also feel our SONA. We are just waiting for him to see whether he will feel what we feel as Ghanaians. But yes, he's entitled to make a statement, and I'm sure when he's done, we'll also be entitled to interrogate the speech that he will give.
Okay.
Well, I'm surprised, because it seems to me that my brother and friend here thinks that the president is a magician. For all I know, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is not a magician. His government has been in power for less than 2 months. I'm not expecting that within these 2 months, the reality of Ghana will change substantially. In fact, what we should be looking for are signals of what is likely to come. You understand? And this reference to Dumso, to all intents and purposes, I think is absolutely laughable. We know the state of the energy sector, especially the power sector, before 7 January 2025. And all the indications before 7 January 2025 were that we were going to get into some power crisis. He came into office with a substantial debt in the power sector of more than $2.5 billion. What magic are you expecting for the power sector? You understand? So it is true that it's been in power for 2 months, and within those 2 months, there has been power curtailment and so on. But why? Is that his burden? It's his burden to resolve the problem, but it is not his administration which created the problem. And this is very clear. You don't have to be NDC, to understand this situation, that there's a huge problem with power. Now, this question about Agenda 111 and what has been completed and not completed, I'm not even going to listen to the president, what he says and what he doesn't say. You know that one of these hospitals was commissioned just before the NPP handed over power. The contractor, Eurojet, if you remember, issued a press statement indicating very clearly that the project which was being commissioned had not been completed.
True, that's a fact.
This is a fact.
Yes.
It is the contractor working on the project who came and said, I have not finished the work. There are many things which have to be done before commissioning. We haven't even handed over the project to government, and yet it is being commissioned.
He cites insufficient funds for why it hasn't been completed.
Exactly, and the press statement is available. So if the contractor working on the project says that we are commissioning projects which have not been completed, who am I to doubt it? What interest does the contractor have to come and expose the fact that the project has not been completed and so on? I think we have to be realistic. What I expect from this State of the Nation address is for the President to tell us the truth, the exact state of the nation. Because it seems to me that many people are not aware of the hole which has been left in the national economy, the mess, the extent of the mess. And it's important to expose this mess. Now, brother, we have been told over and over again that the cocoa sector is the mainstay of the national economy. Now, listen very carefully. As we speak, all the local license buying companies have collapsed. The LDCs we have now are foreign owned. That's a huge problem in the cocoa sector. Last year, we could not even syndicate loans to buy cocoa from the farmers. That's part of our reality. In fact, over the last year or so, or a little more, cocoa production has gone down by more than 50%. That's the reality. If the cocoa sector is the mainstay of the economy and production has gone down by more than 50%, are we not in a huge crisis? Are we not facing a monumental crisis? You can't even raise loans to be able to pay cocoa farmers when they sell their cocoa. That's a huge crisis. Now, if you visit the cocoa growing areas, the extent of devastation of the land of cocoa farms is unbelievable. Unbelievable. You understand? And that's what accounts for this very low level of production. And that's not the only problem. I'm not going to provide the details. I'm hoping that the President himself will provide those details. If you go to some of the state enterprises, the level of indebtedness is shocking. There's one state enterprise whose level of indebtedness is up to 350 million. In fact, if you sell all of their assets, you will still not be able to break even. Sell all of their assets to recover debt. That's how bad the situation is. Look, early last year, the Ministry of Finance told us that they needed, I think, 128% of total national revenue in order to cover 3 line items: debt payment, debt servicing, and public sector emoluments. That's a bankrupt country. The country is completely bankrupt. If you need 128% of your total national revenue to cover 3 line items, what are you, if not a bankrupt state, and so on? So look, we should stop playing to the gallery and face the reality. I believe very strongly that the time has come for all of us as Ghanaians, irrespective of our party affiliation, to put our shoulders to the wheel, to think together, to find solutions to the hydra-headed problems that confront us. I'm expecting a very high level of cooperation from the new patriotic party. You know, this playing to the gallery and going to parliament in morning clothes and so on, I don't want to see that this time. Because of the crisis we face, and indeed the opposition has to demonstrate that it is not just a credible opposition, but it's also a responsible opposition. You know, because why? Who says that opposition parties, their only duty is to oppose? They also have a constructive obligation to contribute to dealing with the hydra-headed problems that face us. And that's what I want to see now. First of all, we will have to understand fully what the crisis is, the depth of the crisis. And we have to understand very clearly some of the measures which can be taken in order to alleviate the suffering of the Ghanaian people. So I expect the opposition to look at the proposed measures to deal with the problem and to tell us that these measures are not workable or are not sensible and so on. But blaming a 2-month-old government for the doomsday problem, I think, is reckless and irresponsible. You understand? One of the issues which have been raised, and my brother and friend, sometimes I'm even tempted to call him comrade, even though he doesn't fully qualify.
He's a patriot.
Yeah, you know.
He's a patriot, yes.
He's talking about dismissals from the public service. I'm not interested in whether the NPP did the same or not. If the NPP did it and it was wrong, it must be wrong now. And we should be moving forward rather than moving backwards. So I'm not going to engage in that debate of whether the NPP also did it and so on. But I want to understand the measures which are being taken. If you have state agencies which are reeling with indebtedness, they have huge holes in their accounts and so on, they cannot even pay those who are on the payroll now, and you add thousands and hundreds of people to the payroll, what are you doing? What are you doing? Is that not madness? So somebody ought to be able to rationalize the payroll. And in rationalizing the payroll, you need to find out whether there's a capacity to pay the people who are being employed. That's one. Employment into the public service is governed by, in some cases, even law. It's governed by clear rules and so on. Is it not the responsibility of governments to find out whether those rules and laws are being properly applied? And when they are not being properly applied, when they are being abused, shouldn't government be taking remedial action? So these are the things that we should be looking at and stop this propagandist attitude, you know, and this propagandist attitudes which assumes that the Ghanaian people are yo-yo. You can tell them any story and they will believe it. The results of the last elections clearly indicate that we are not yo-yos and that we listen, we evaluate statements from our politicians and so on. And we know what is right, we know what is good, and we know what is bad. So we are all waiting for the State of the Nation address with bated breath. But the president will do himself some good if he really does not shy away from exposing the true state of the economy.
Collins.
Yes, so first of all, I know Mr. Mahama is not a magician. His Excellency, he is not a magician. He can't be a magician. We've known him as a politician all these years. I don't think being a magician is part of his accolades. So I never intended to paint the picture that His Excellency is a magician. Now, Ankwesi also referred to a hospital project that His Excellency Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo commissioned, that the contractor Eurojet came up with a communication. First of all, that particular project is not part of the Agenda 111 project.
Okay.
That's totally different.
Okay. It's a different project.
A different project altogether.
Okay.
I mean, the contention has been that...
Does it matter?
It does. Because I was referring...
I'll show you how it doesn't matter.
I was referring specifically to...
Agenda 111.
When His Excellency John Dramani Mahama talked about only one had been completed.
Okay.
And I'm saying that the officials who were handling that particular project have also come out to say 3 were commissioned. In fact, Mr. Mahama, His Excellency said, there are no beds. And I'm saying there are pictures even on the Facebook page of His Excellency Dankwa Akufo-Addo that shows that during the commissioning, there were beds in there. And so tomorrow, he has an opportunity. Parliament, the House of Records, he has an opportunity to give us the details. Now, I never intended to say that this current government should solve all our energy problems. I never intended to say so. But as Ankwesi said, Ghanaians value statements from our politicians. On the 7th of January, during the inauguration, my very, very good brother, John Jinapo, indicated, and you recall, that there are only 5 hours of fuel available. You recall that?
Yes.
Subsequently, when he came to Parliament for his vetting, he clarified that the 5 hours was related to one particular thermal plant. That's what he said. Subsequently, during a meeting with the World Bank in the office of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, he indicated to the officials that they had capable hands of handling the energy crisis. Not long ago, a committee was set up to ensure that we don't go into any crisis. And I have in my hand the Daily Graphic report, where Mr. Jinapor himself says, WAPCO shut down, government fixes power deficits, procured alternative fuel to keep lights on. And I enjoy the conversation that Ghanaians value statements from politicians.
Yes.
In spite of all the challenges that they inherited, Mr. Jinapor informed us that they have procured alternative fuel to keep the light on. And so if today my light goes off, I have every right to ask why the light have gone off and to tell you that that is my reality now, in spite of the assurances that have been given by the minister, who is seized with all the data. And I'm going to talk about 2-point-something billion. That's true. It's the same 2-point-something billion that they left us in 2016, and the World Bank report is there for everybody to see. It was my hope that when he gave us this assurance, we are not going to experience what we're experiencing now. And I'm saying that the Ghanaian people, that is our state of the nation. That's how we are feeling. I don't think I'm out of place. But I'm not saying that His Excellency is a magician. One question says that the reality of Ghana has not changed. It has. A lot has happened. Have you seen the Nolly prosecution that is going on? Have you seen it? Have you seen the number of government officials who were in courts going through a certain process, who have had this process truncated within the last 2 months? The reality has changed. These were people in court. Today they are free. The reality has changed. Something has happened within these 2 months. Although Mr. Mahama is not a magician, he has been able, through his Attorney General, to free some people. That is the reality. That is the reality on the ground. So I am saying that yes, His Excellency has every right, and tomorrow is an opportunity for him. Already, he is clear in his mind that is Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his appointees criminally govern this country. He has made it clear, without any evidence. So maybe we are waiting. Tomorrow, he will be able to tell us how criminal Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's appointees were. He will be able to tell us tomorrow.
But Collins, isn't it a bit... I mean, comparing, for instance, the filing of nolle prosequi of some of these persons you're talking about to, say, the running of an economy and, for that matter, energy, which is a critical part of the economy. Don't you think that these two comparisons...
I'm not comparing the two.
Yeah, because the reason I'm asking... the reason why I'm asking is because you're saying that you agree in principle that the president doesn't have what it takes, or for the president doesn't have the magic wand, let me put it that way, to be able to turn our fortunes around in just 2 months.
Yes.
You agree with that?
Absolutely.
Okay, but then you go ahead to cite, for instance, the freeing or the filing of nolle prosequi of the persons that you've...
Yes, that has nothing to do with the economy.
No, I get that. But you're saying that if in less than 2 months,
the
president can do that.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Then, so in essence, what you're saying is that nobody should come and tell you that when it comes to other aspects of our lives.
No, I'm not saying so.
No, that's the impression.
That is your interpretation about it.
Okay, so if you can clarify
I am saying that Anguisi says
Yes.
nothing has changed
Yes.
fundamentally.
Yes.
I don't have any problem. The economy has not changed fundamentally. I don't have any problem.
Yes.
But certain things have changed.
Well, that's also true.
That's what I'm saying. And so the person who has been sacked, who has been asked to go home, who has been given a letter of termination, my reality is that within these 2 months, I've been sacked.
Facts.
But I'm not saying that Mr. Mahama is a magician to change things in 2 months. But I'm saying the people who feel it, they know it. I say fuel prices have gone up 3 times. I'm not blaming Mr. Mahama, but that's the reality. The reality on the ground is that fuel prices have gone up 3 times. So when I go to the pump and I buy and the price have gone up, within these first 2 months, something has changed.
Right.
And that is my reality. That is my reality. That's what I'm saying. When the minister tells me that they have procured alternative fuel.
That's why the operative word is fundamentally.
I'm saying that
the basics are still the same.
The president sees with all the information, describe Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his appointees as criminally minded people. How did he say it?
Well, no, I'm not sure he said they are criminally minded.
He said the economy has been managed with a criminal mindset. It's a crime scene.
No.
That is what he said.
No, he did. He said he had. Look, it's not difficult at all. We can revisit.
You can revisit even the video.
If you have the video,
I don't have any problem.
Because I don't.
See, the economy was managed like a crime scene. Ghana is like a crime scene.
Yes, but that's not the same as. It's not the same as saying
that. It's the same.
Okay, so let's watch this.
Let's watch this.
Let's watch this.
And I'm saying that.
No, just a second. Just a second. I beg you. Let's watch this.
Comrades, you know we are your natural allies, and we've worked together for many years. One thing that is a cardinal principle for us is to tell the truth at all times. We all knew the economy was in crisis, but some of the things I'm discovering myself, I mean, it's been a criminal handling of our economy. And Ghana is a crime scene, actually. Because how a government can have been so reckless, I cannot understand. But we're faced with a reality, and our options are very few. We can behave like the ostrich and hide our heads in the sand and let the economy crash. But then what effect would it have on Ghanaian households and everybody? And so I've told him, I said, cut expenditure as much as you like. Even we ourselves in Office of Government Machinery cut as much of our budget as you like, because we all must make those sacrifices. A certain distrust of the political class has arisen, because it's like when everybody else is tightening their belts, the political class is loosening its belts. But I want to assure you that we're all going to tighten our belts, and there will be no wasteful expenditure. It is said that we create and share. And so let's start cooking the meal now so that we can share when we have created. But right now, the meal is not only insufficient, the cooking pot is even leaking. And so I'll just appeal to you that let's temper our demands for this year. And once we get out of the woods, we've set good targets to bring inflation down so that the cost of everything will come down. We've set targets to grow the economy, to make things better. And when the cake is baked and it's bigger, we'll share bigger. We are proposing an independent emoluments committee that would set the incomes for everybody from the president right down to the ordinary laborer. We're prepared to walk this journey with you, but I just appeal to you that let's reach agreement on this one so that we use this year as the year of correction. And then after we've corrected, we'll see how the economy continues to go. Once the economy moves in the direction that we are all hoping for, we all, if we have an independent emoluments committee, maybe if you suggest 35%, I'll support you because it will affect my pay too.
We all knew the economy was in crisis, but some of the things I'm uncovering myself have been a criminal mishandling of our economy. Ghana is now a crime scene. How can a government be so reckless? I cannot understand. But it doesn't mean the persons he's talking about are criminals. There's a difference. That's why I'm saying that, look, the public is watching. And we must be careful we don't mislead them. That's why I'm saying that.
I'm coming.
The action does not necessarily make the person whoever. Do you get the person?
The economy, the criminal handling of the economy.
Yes.
Ghana is a crime scene.
Yes.
You don't think this is the highest of an indictment on Akufo-Addo and his government?
I don't have a problem with that. No, I don't have a problem with that.
If Akufo-Addo and his
but the initial impression
handled
created...
Yes, no.
No.
He said His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the erstwhile government, handled the economy to such a stage where it's like a crime scene.
Absolutely.
The criminal handling of the economy.
Yes.
And I'm saying that for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama,
yes,
SONA is clear to him. He knows what it is.
Yes.
The economy is.
Yes. Okay.
And I'm also telling him that in this past 2 months that he became president, these are some of the things that have happened.
Yes.
That is also our SONA.
Okay.
So whilst he comes in to tell us Akufo-Addo SONA, he should also be mindful of what has happened within the first 2 months. I'm not saying he's a magician, But I'm sure he's not a magician, but he's been able to sack people. He's not a magician. He's not a magician. But people are going home. He's not a magician. I've not said he's a magician. He's not a magician, but the cases in court, people have been set free. He's not a magician.
But Collins,
he's not a magician.
How difficult is it?
I'm saying that he's not a magician.
You know,
but
Collins,
I also have the right to tell you what has happened in these 2 months.
Yes.
He's not a magician, but petrol prices have gone up 3 times. He's not a magician. I've not said he's a magician. He's not a magician.
Okay.
And these are not populist statements. These are realities. But of course, I agree that we have issues in the last government. And that is why the people of Ghana decided to change. We are hoping that his reset agenda, as he discussed this morning, will continue. But I also have the right to tell you what my reality is as of today.
Okay, Ngozi.
Collins, I mean, today, I think that you are actually shocking me. Because to give the impression that what it takes to free people who allegedly are facing malicious prosecution is the same thing that it would take to stop doing so, I think is really...
I never said so, Ngozi. I never said so, respectfully.
You remember that was the same question I asked earlier?
I never said so.
And
but
you're
you
saying
also have
that...
to be fair to me.
No, I get it. That's what the impression I also get. I also got, honestly.
I've never said so.
And you said the same thing, that you didn't say the same thing.
Now, let me explain. If you say that you admit that he's not a magician, but even though he's not a magician, he's been able to do some other things. What's the implication of that?
I'm saying that these are the reality, what has happened within these 2 months. I also have the right to point out those things.
So then, you admit that the effort it takes to free people from prosecution is not the same effort it takes in order to restore regular power supply. You admit.
Absolutely. There are 2 different things altogether.
I'm happy that...
there are 2 different things.
But then, I think it's important also to try and understand the context within which you raise the non-prosecution or the discontinuation of the prosecution of certain persons, the context within which you raise it. I'm very familiar with the prosecution of Dr. Upuni. I followed it very closely. And I've come to the conclusion that it amounted to malicious prosecution. Why do I say so? He and another person were in court because they allegedly brought in fertilizers which were no good. That was the basis, of the charge against them and their prosecution. You, as well as me, all of us, who followed the prosecution, had farmer after farmer come to the court to give evidence that when they applied that particular fertilizer, their yields improved. I recall one farmer who came and said that year, his cocoa trees flowered in a way that he had never seen before in open court. I've seen scientists come to the court to make the point that the methods which were used to test the fertilizer, leading to the erroneous impression that those fertilizers were not effective, were wrong, and so on. How do you continue such a prosecution without looking malicious? How do you continue such a prosecution? A prosecution which has no legs to stand on at all. I think we should be reminded by the fact that in Ghana, somehow, our Attorney General is also the Minister for Justice. He has a dual role, dual conflicting role sometimes. So the Attorney General and Minister for Justice also has a responsibility to ensure that the people of Ghana enjoy full rights, that they are treated justly and so on. That's a responsibility of the Attorney General, and we should never forget that. Then there's the case of the prosecution of Japa, Atuposon, and others, which eventually ended up in the Supreme Court. My brother, I'm not a lawyer. And I know that you're a finance person, But even as lay people, given the tape which was played in open court, would you advise that that prosecution should continue? A tape on which the Attorney General is actually advising an accused person to falsify evidence. It's not an accused person to go and get a fake medical report and so on. It's on the tape. Has not been denied. You understand? So the discontinuation of these prosecutions, in all cases, has merit. I believe very strongly that it has merit. You understand? And I believe also that we should not carry on prosecutions for prosecution's sake, because prosecutions come with a cost to the state. It's not cheap to prosecute people. It comes with a cost. And when we know that the prosecution of individuals or a group of individuals and so on, is not taking us anywhere, why do we continue to incur cost to the state? It doesn't make any sense, to me at all. Now, the point I make about the commissioning of hospitals, I agree with you. You're right. That the hospital that Eurojet issued a statement on, that hospital had not been completed before it was commissioned, is not one of the Agenda 111 hospitals. You're right to that extent. But then to the extent that it gives us an indication that commissioning of hospitals does not mean that they are completed, it becomes valid. What Eurojet did was to put us on notice that government officials and even sometimes presidents can commission projects which have not been completed. And that is why I cited the case of Eurojet. I didn't cite the case of Eurojet because the hospital it was constructing was an Agenda 111 project, but just to give us an indication that commissioning hospitals is not an indication that the hospitals have been completed. Basic. That's all. You understand? Yes.
Okay. Now, I'll come back to you. Don't worry. I'll come back to you. Just briefly. I'll come back to you. Okay. I'll come back to you. And one of the things that I would also want to find out from you during this conversation is whether the president should even acknowledge the ongoing heated debate about whether Kotoka International Airport should be renamed. And so you're watching Good Morning Ghana. Stay with us.
Who are you? Charlie, I'll be you from the future. Who doesn't sleep on that slice of bready poor mattress anymore? Don't some slippers then follow me. It is part of the mattress we did the front there. Yeah? That be the mattress where the dead put on. Wait, what are you doing? Wow! No damage at all. Not only durable, but also super comfortable. Come on, try it.
Nothing day like Ash Foam. Enjoy full body support and unparalleled comfort for a restful sleep.
Don't forget your keys.
Get the premium sleep experience with mattresses from Ash Foam. Visit any of our showrooms nationwide or at ashfoam.com.
Mommy.
Michelle say, fe.
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Kel Chocolate Toothpaste, healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Kel Chocolate Toothpaste, Sankofa.
Yenchi, Kel Chocolate Toothpaste.
Happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
In an era where fire safety is paramount, Kabori Film Compound Technologies Limited stands out as a leader in the development of innovative fire dousing solutions. With a focus on aqueous film forming foam, the company provides a cutting-edge product that significantly enhances fire suppression capabilities across various sectors, including maritime, industrial and emergency response.
The oil and gas sector, along with chemical manufacturing facilities and fire services.
Kabori's advanced film technology offers a more efficient and environmentally responsible alternative.
Kabori is recognized for its superior extinguishing capabilities and prolonged resistance to reignition. Kabori's product is certified by the Ghana National Fire Service, the Ghana Standards Authority, the Environmental Protection Agency, and the Nigerian Standards Organization.
Kabori Film Compound Limited is situated in Nsawam within the eastern region of Ghana. For inquiries, reach out to them on 0245 885 288 or 0244 514 048. You may also contact them via email at info@kaborifilm.com. Kabori Film Compound Technologies Limited, providing film compound solutions to help institutions.
You're the answer to my prayers. You're with me everywhere. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need tonight. Give me shelter from the rain. You breathe life in me again. You're my angel, miracle. You're all I need to know tonight.
Excuse me, sir.
Hello.
Please, next time, can you put it in a dustbin?
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'll not do that again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, baby girl, how are you? I've really missed you.
I've missed
How
you
she's
too.
looking so fabulous. I know, right?
Thank you. Auntie Naya.
Yes, dear.
Uncle Kofi.
Yes, dear.
All you've been teaching me about sanitation, I've been teaching my friends at school, and it has been absolutely great.
Really?
Wow.
That's a great impact you're making now.
Sure. Keep it up, girl.
Okay.
Sure.
Auntie Naya,
Yes, dear.
I need to tell you something. If we want to be successful as a people, we need to be aware of the importance of sanitation.
That's true.
That's true. You're right, Amma. You're right. That's true.
Naya, do you know sanitation is so important and crucial in our society?
Yes, Kofi, and I thank God for Kids Sanitation IQ, which you can also just say KSIQ. It's an important show that you don't need to miss it.
Kids Sanitation IQ. That's a great show. I understand the show has been designed for the kids to educate the public on some special sanitation categories.
I know, right? And I learned they will also educate the public on sanitation for environmental and community development.
I also understand they would educate the public on sanitation for educational development.
Wow.
Yeah.
Education, you say?
Oh, God.
Wow.
Right.
It is amazing. They also have sanitation for health development.
Health
and
development.
sanitation for corporate.
Corporate and health, Nana.
Don't play.
This one will intrigue you. I understand this kit will educate the public on sanitation that benefits the needy.
The
Isn't
needy,
it
you
amazing?
say?
Absolutely.
Wow.
It's amazing.
It is amazing.
Oh, God.
Don't miss this
You
show.
don't have to miss the Kids Sanitation IQ show.
It is getting more and more interesting. A lot of fireworks here, not in the negative, but I mean intellectual fireworks. That's what I'm talking about. And you need some energy to be able to consume that kind of intellectual conversation that's happening here. And talking about energy, I've got some great news for you. I've been talking to you about an energy drink. I'm talking about Blue Jeans energy drink, which has been on the Ghanaian market for 20 years. Now, we already know what it does for the body. It contains many vitamins and nutrients in it. It has vitamin B2, B3, B6, and B12, as well as taurine and guarana, which are known to boost your strength and energy, as well as promote high performance and endurance. Blue Jeans energy drink has been tested, it's been tried, we know it, we can testify, we love it. It's nice, it's fantastic, it's absolutely mind-blowing, and indeed, it's the best. Blue Jeans energy drink is for bold and active men and women. It's in shops now. It's in shops now nationwide. Just call this number. Let me give you this number. Call and thank me later. 0208-128-190. Budget Cash and Carry Limited. Call them on 0208-128-190 and 055-001-0000. So it's 40. So 055-001-000. Collis, there was something you wanted to say quickly. When you're done with that, and I can bring in the Kotoka matter, because I want to know whether the president, it will be great to hear the president acknowledge, at least the ongoing debate about whether we should rename Kotoka International Airport or not.
For all I sought to do was just to give an account of what has occurred within these 2 months. As for the merit or demerit of the discontinuation of the case, I don't think we've gone into that.
Right.
All I sought to do was to also indicate to you that this is what has happened within the first 2 months of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And for the ordinary Ghanaian who has been sacked, whose radio station has been closed, and all that, these are the realities to the person. I'm just hoping that His Excellency will also get the opportunity to speak to his first 2 months in office.
Okay.
As for Kotoka and
Now, before you get to Kotoka, boss, before you get to Kotoka, yes, it is true, you're right, that there are some indications of what is likely to happen, what is going to happen. And I have no difficulty at all speaking to those indications and their full-blown implications for the national economy. One of those indicators we have had is this threat to privatize the electricity company of Ghana.
Yes.
I have no difficulty if the opposition will raise issues with this and show a better alternative of dealing with the problem. Because I'm most uncomfortable with that indicator. And I'm not the only person. Organized labor has also raised its voice. The Public Utility Workers Union, the Trades Union Congress, and so on.
Are all kicking against it. Yes.
All kicking against it. And I think that they are on sound grounds. Just look, between 1966 and now, we have privatized more than 600 state enterprises. Out of those 600 state enterprises that we have privatized, only 2 have survived, which is the clearest indication that even in private hands, enterprises do collapse. Okay. Now, if you look at the 2 enterprises which have survived out of 600, they're talking about Movenpick Ambassador and Lancaster Hotel. These are the 2 which have survived. So there's evidence to make us worry about privatization. But if you take the ECG itself, this is not the first time we are going to privatize ECG. I remember, I think around 1989 or thereabout, we brought in the Electricity Company of France. They took over aspects of ECG's work. We privatized it. After 2 years, the results were so disastrous that we had to kick out the Electricity Company of France. Then there was the case of the privatization of the Ghana Water Company.
Aqua
Vitans ran. And it was a total disaster. So the history of privatization in Ghana does not suggest that it brings efficiency or even brings in resources that are needed for the survival of those enterprises. And I like to recall also that between 1982 and 1983, as a result of the reckless privatization of state enterprises, 300,000 workers lost their jobs. You understand? So if you want to raise these issues about declared intentions and so on, it makes a lot of sense. And we are likely to garner support and so on. But the issues you are raising, my brother, I'm afraid, lack substance. I'm afraid they absolutely lack substance.
We've not gone into the substance of the issues. I'm just telling you what has happened in these 2 months. We can have a time to debate the substance. I'm just giving you an indication of what has gone on within 2 months.
And then even this announcement that we're going to go into a review, of the IMF program. We need to know what the review is going to entail.
And I'm sure tomorrow.
We know the format of IMF reviews. We know what the possible outcomes are. I'm still waiting to be convinced that there's any sense in going back to the IMF for review or whatever. You understand? So these are substantial issues that you can raise.
I'm saying
but
that
when you do what you're doing,
I don't have any issue with you disagreeing with me. But I'm saying that it is SONA, the State of the Nation address. And I'm telling you what has gone on within these 2 months since SN John Dramani Mahama became president. As to the merit or demerit of it, we can discuss it later. But I'm telling you what has gone on.
Okay.
Yes. As for Kotoka and, listen, MPP, NDC, CPP, all those people should stop disturbing Nkrumah. The man is resting. Allow him to rest.
But his legacy lives on.
Who told you Nkrumah needs an airport to be named after him for him to be great? Who told you that?
But is that the argument?
But what is the argument? Who told you that?
The argument is the man whose name is there.
Listen, and then when you take that man out, you put Nkrumah.
Not necessarily.
That's what you're saying.
Not necessarily.
That's the argument.
Take the name out first, and then we can think about whose name should be put there.
You and I know that the name out there is that they want to name it after Nkrumah. I am saying that the man is tired. He doesn't need this kind of drama to be the great man that he is. Allow him to rest.
No, there are two things. No, there are two things. First of all, in principle, do you agree with those who say that the name Kotoka International Airport in itself?
Listen, I don't want to argue about...
No, that's what I'm saying. No, there are two issues. It is whether the name deserves to be there. And if it deserves to be there, why? If it doesn't deserve to be there, why? If the name is taken out,
listen, there are
whose
people,
name deserves to be there?
There are people who argue that Nkrumah's name does not deserve to be there. There are people who argue. There are some people who argue that way.
Yeah, Professor Kwesi, I've heard.
I am saying that leave Nkrumah to rest. He is great already. He is great, and I've made this point so many times. When there was argument about we should celebrate Nkrumah's birthday, we should celebrate this, we should put an apostrophe. Nkrumah does not mean it. He's the man of the millennium. Period.
No, but why are you saying this? Because nobody has said they're going to put Nkrumah.
Who told you that?
International Airport.
Go to the.
It's just a suggestion.
Please, listen. Leave Nkrumah to rest. He is great already. He's too great. Listen, I was in Jamaica last 3 weeks. I'm busy. When you go to Jamaica, just mention your name that you are from Ghana. The first thing that comes out is Nkrumah.
Kwame Nkrumah.
Yes. If you people don't like him here and you are playing football with him, the Jamaicans love him. The African Union, this is a man who has been named as the man of the millennium. Leave him to rest. He doesn't deserve this kind of drama. That every day MPP, NDC, CPP, this one is going to court, this one is doing this. Nkrumah is great.
So Kotoka should stay?
Listen, Nkrumah is Nkrumah.
Fine. Should Kotoka stay?
Oh, I don't know the history behind those Kotoka International. I don't know the history. I don't want to argue about that.
He's a coupist.
I'm saying that I don't want to argue about that.
Okay.
I don't have the history.
Okay.
I've not really read about it.
Okay.
When I heard argument about we should rename it after Nkrumah, and I'm saying Nkrumah does not need this drama. Allow the man to rest. He's the greatest we've seen. There's no doubt. There's no question about that.
But a number of names have come up. It's not just Nkrumah. A number of names have come up. You have just chosen to go the Nkrumah route. But a number of other names.
Which other names have come up?
Oh, I've heard, what's the name of this? Something Bano. I can get to the name. He's actually a chief or so. And there's quite a number of other names have come up. In fact,
Senior, listen to me.
So far, I've heard about 3 or 4.
listen to me.
Yes. So it's not just an Nkrumah thing.
I've said this on countless occasions. Your sergeant for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah remains your sergeant for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah.
Yes.
Period.
So you think all this is about for Dr. Kwame?
Leave him to rest.
Okay. All right. How was he?
Well, I'm surprised that Honorable Collins is urging us to leave Nkrumah to rest, when, as a matter of fact, Nkrumah himself has told us in his writings and so on that we shouldn't have any rest until the final liberation of our continent and people has been completed. So
I get you.
Can I finish?
Maybe when I finish, I'll explain where I was coming from.
So Nkrumah himself has not been seeking any rest because the problems that he sought to deal with are still staring us in the face. And I'm quite sure that Nkrumah would want us to continue with the struggle and to use all the things that he left us, the ideas, the examples he set, his name, and so on, to continue to use those to wage the struggle until final victory. Nkrumah will have no problem at all with not allowing him to rest, as you put it.
I think you get where I was coming from.
Don't worry.
Okay.
Don't worry. Now, I'm all for removing the name Kotoka from our international airport. And I do this purely from the standpoint that now we know enough to understand the 1966 coup. I've read the declassified documents of the Central Intelligence Agency of the United States of America. And even upon a casual reading of those documents, you cannot help but to come to the conclusion that that coup was an attack on our national sovereignty. You understand? So if Kotoka played a role in attacking our national sovereignty, he does not deserve an honor. I've left in no doubt at all the 1966 coup was meant to perpetuate our neo-colonial order, the neo-colonial order, you understand? And those who worked for that are not entitled to any national honor. Beyond that, I've read Philip Agee, who was a former agent of the Central Intelligence Agency, and he's written copiously on the coup, the factors that led to it, and so on. I've read documents from the British Archive. I've read a cable which was authored by the British High Commissioner, A.W. Snelling, urging his government to participate in the effort to overthrow the Nkrumah government because Nkrumah was making the African too politically conscious. This is a document which is available. You understand? Authentic document which is available. I've read Jack Mahoney. I've read his book, JFK, or Deal in Africa, in which he states very clearly that those forces which were engaged in the coup were anti-national forces, collaborating with his own government to subvert the independence and sovereignty of Ghana, and so on. How do you name an airport after Kotoka?
So the idea is that...
How do you justify naming an airport after a national traitor? Clear national traitor. What did he do? He participated in a plot by Western intelligence agencies headed by the CIA to overthrow a popular, democratically elected government of Ghana, which was spearheading the African Revolution. He participated in a plot to subvert national sovereignty. Participated in a plot which has led to where we are today. I'll give you one or two things to chew on. You know one of the things that the 1966 coup did? The 1966 coup led to the abandonment of the plan to generate electric power using nuclear. You know that?
Yes, yes, I know that.
So today when we are talking about Dumso, the 1966 coup is one of the reasons why we continue to suffer Dumso. Today, if you look at agriculture, most of our crops suffer 30% post-harvest losses. This could easily have been cured using radiation. The equipment which was brought in to enable our scientists to use radiation to minimize post-harvest losses was packaged and sold to the United States of America by these reckless persons who staged the 1966 coup. And you want us to honor them? How do you want us to honor them? Today, your party and the government in which you serve is constantly boasting about free SHS, constantly, as something worthy, of pursuing and so on. What happened after the 1966 coup? Free education was attacked, vigorously attacked. You understand? How do you justify honoring Emmanuel Kwesi Kotoka? How do you justify that? Now, some of you have persistently been attacking the image of Nkrumah because of what you claim to be human rights abuses. And I'm choosing my words very carefully. But you conveniently forget that after the 1966 coup, Boy Moses, one of the aides of Nkrumah, was captured and put in a cage, human being put in a cage, tied to a moving vehicle and paraded through the streets of Accra. What human rights violation can be more egregious than the treatment of Boy Moses?
In fact, also recently, it was all over the media telling his story, Boy Moses.
And we want to honor those who did this? Those who put human beings in cages, not prison, in cages, and drove them through the principal streets of Accra. You want to honor them by naming our international airport after one of them? I have deliberately refused to refer to that airport as Kotoka International Airport.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So how do you name it?
I always call it the Accra International Airport. Always. Anytime I've spoken about the airport, I've called it the Accra International Airport.
I see.
I cannot bring myself to participate in this dishonorable venture of bestowing national awards on traitors and buccaneers.
But there's an interesting angle, Onkwesi, and I'll bring in a colleague. There's a very interesting angle to this. And this angle has been introduced by Professor Kweku Azar. We all call him Professor Kweku Azar. And on one of his Facebook posts, he says, now he is questioning the logic behind renaming places named after coup leaders under the 1992 Constitution. Now he's arguing that it could set a precedent that could apply to other figures like Kwame Nkrumah, who led Ghana into a one-party state in 1964. And then he cites Article 3.1, rejecting a one-party state, and that Nkrumah led Ghana into one in 1964. So why does KNUST still bear his name? Okay. Now, he's further contending that if Article 3.3 of the Constitution, which frowns on coups, is being used to justify renaming places named after coup leaders, then the same logic should apply to institutions named after Nkrumah, since the Constitution equally rejects a one-party state. I don't know how you what do you make of this?
I think that he's entitled to his views.
His opinion.
He's entitled to his views. I mean, nobody can take that away from him. But I think there's a fundamental problem with blaming Nkrumah for the one-party state in Ghana.
Tell me why.
Okay. One, almost all the African states which became independent in that period became one-party states.
Yeah.
So it was a phenomenon which was not necessarily Nkrumah. It was a phenomenon which was associated with national liberation for whatever reason. You understand? Now, I want to also go beyond form and look really at content. Would you say that the United States of America today is a multi-party establishment?
On paper, it looks like, but in reality, is it?
What is the substantial difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party? All of them would invade Iraq. All of them would bomb Afghanistan to Rust.
Because it's American policy. It doesn't matter who is elected. American policy
So
stays.
what is the substantial difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party? And if we begin to look at things within that context, then perhaps we may have to look beyond appearances and look at substance. Now again, the declaration of the one-party state in Ghana was something which was contested and fought over and so on. And ultimately the people of Ghana had to decide. A coup d'etat is necessarily a conspiracy by a few people, usually friends and relatives. Few people conspire to stage a coup d'etat. The declaration of the one-party state was not a conspiracy. It was democratically debated, it was contested.
It was constitution, actually.
Exactly.
It was, yeah, it was confirmed.
And so I would not place the two in the same category. You understand? I would not. And I'm not so sure, and I'm choosing my words again very carefully, I am not so sure that this multi-party dispensation which we fought for which many people lost their lives and so on, is actually delivering, meeting the expectations of our people. I'm not sure. I am not sure that this dispensation is meeting the expectations of our people. You understand? Whatever it is, I even feel offended in much as I admit the right of Professor Kwaku Asaah to express his views and to the extent that his views are his views and you know, remain his views and valid to the extent that they are his views and so on, I still feel offended, very seriously offended, that anybody can attempt to compare Kotoka to Nkrumah. It's very offensive. Look at Kwame Nkrumah. Look at what he did to our country, what he did to Africa, and what he did for the world. And you want to compare him to Kotoka?
People are comparing Kotoka's exploits in Congo to Nkrumah.
I don't understand what you're saying.
His exploits in Congo, the
What
fact
exploits?
that, well, he went there, he led Ghana into, how do you call it, that's military, the military intervention in
Under the instructions of
Congo.
who?
Well, that's a good question.
Under the instructions of who?
Yeah.
Don't let us bastardize things. There's no way you can, under any circumstance, compare Kotoka to Nkrumah. You cannot. There's no basis for the comparison.
Collins, you still stand by the same position?
I'm saying.
Allow sleeping dogs to lie.
I am saying. I said we should allow
Nkrumah
Uncle
to rest.
He says Nkrumah himself wanted us to continue.
Yes.
I understand his statement to mean Nkrumah wants us to continue with his ideology.
Right.
Nkrumah is not interested in the debate about whether this place is named after him or not. Nkrumah is not interested in that. He is great.
I'm sure you spoke to Kwame Nkrumah yesterday. You had a conversation with Kwame Nkrumah yesterday morning.
Senior, Nkrumah is great. You can't do anything about it. Period. My worry is that if we continue this line, it gets to a point where people will be comparing Kotoka to Nkrumah. Why should that even be an argument?
Right.
In the first place? Why should that be an argument in the first place? Why lead us to this kind of argument? For people to even disrespect Nkrumah? Why lead us to this argument? Are you getting the point I'm making?
Yes.
The man is great, period. The man has been named the African of the millennium.
Collins, what are you arguing against?
What I'm saying
because
is that,
I have not said...
No, it's not about you.
Because I have not said that we should name the airport after Nkrumah.
That's not
I have
the
not
point.
said
Oh, you have not said so, but I'm
saying that the person that the airport is named after is not deserving of that honor. That's my argument.
I've heard people make arguments.
And so you are arguing with people outside this studio.
It's a topic he has brought up.
So you are arguing with people outside this studio.
No, it's a topic he has brought up. And I'm saying that the great Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah does not need drama. In fact, he does not need anything to be great. He's great. Period. Period. And that is why I remember I was with him here when this S apostrophe thing came out. Who told you that Nkrumah, the great Nkrumah, will be in his grave and he's happy about the conversation about whether apostrophe or not apostrophe?
There's a fundamental issue which we want to pick your thoughts on.
Listen, you can argue, you can talk to people. Others have very strong views
about Nkrumah.
Take it from me, very, very strong views.
Yeah.
And just as Ankwesi was
And so
arguing,
what?
I'm coming.
There are others who have strong views about Hitler. They think that Hitler was a hero.
Yes.
Because people have strong views about Hitler.
No, I've not said so.
You should accept that.
No, I've not said so, Ankwesi. I've
So
not.
stop that thing about strong views.
I've not said so, Ankwesi. I've not. I am saying that we should allow the man some peace to rest. He's done so well. He's huge.
Kwame Nkrumah would not
Beyond imagination.
Kwame Nkrumah would not have peace.
Yes, Kwame Nkrumah.
Until the African people take control of their resources and exploit these resources for their own benefit.
That is an ideological stand.
Until the African people
that is understandable.
Are able to resist foreign impositions on
That
us.
is understandable, Ankwesi. But I'm sure
Stop preaching rest.
No, Nkrumah's rest that I'm talking about is not naming and renaming. Nkrumah's point that I'm making, I'm pointing at is that Nkrumah does not want us to rest until his vision, his ideology, that we can pursue, that we can still forcefully talk about. And I agree with that. Nkrumah's vision of us becoming independent is something we all aspire to. That is fine. But I'm saying that if we leave that ideological stand, that important principle, that important aspect of Nkrumah, and stop all that beautiful argument, and then move to name this after this, put this, that is where I'm saying
So when your government was changing names and removing apostrophes and so on, what did you tell your government?
I was here with you, Ankwesi, on a principle stand. I said it, that Nkrumah does not deserve this. I said that's the principle stand I'm speaking about.
So you're being consistent.
Yes. Listen, you can't do anything about Nkrumah.
Collins,
you can't.
The reason why this matter has come up, and I would have wished that you express your thoughts a bit
And my
differently.
stance about it has been consistent.
I get that. You know, in 1993,
If you don't want him, somebody wants him.
In 1993-94, Collins.
Look, I'm coming. The whole of Africa has met.
Okay.
And decided that
He's
this
the man of the
man
millennium.
from Ghana
Yes.
is the man of the
millennium.
If you want to
Case
sit in
closed.
Ghana and be arguing about whether you should put apostrophe or not, that's your own problem.
Yeah, but why have you reduced this whole matter to Nkrumah? You see, that's
Because
how
that
you
is
start.
what-
You're fighting the issue.
That is what you.
The
That
issue
is
here-
what you are talking
and-
about. If
and-
you go
and
on
we've
radio,
asked time and
Kweku Azan.
Yes.
Why did Kweku Azan just limit himself to Nkrumah? Because that is the argument on the street.
No, he's saying that by that logic, according to him, and that's his argument, then Nkrumah will also fall short. But here's the thing: 1993-94, we all recall, because I was then in GSS3.
Why would he even talk about Nkrumah for short?
Oh, well, he says he declared a one-party state, of which Mr. Kwesi Pratt has explained. But here's the thing: 1993-94, right, Collins? You went to court. You and the Attorney General, MPP Attorney General, you went to court, and your argument was simple.
I didn't go to court.
When I say you, I mean the MPP went to court, right? And your argument was simple. We've ushered in a civilian government. What business do we have celebrating 31st December, which happened in 1981? You went to court and you won.
You know what you're doing?
Yes.
You're raking up the past.
The past.
Yes.
To the discomfort of many people.
Many people. No, I'm just
Because
that's what the position they took.
Hold on. I recall.
Yes.
2016.
Yes.
Nana Akufo-Addo going to the house of former President Rawlings and telling former President Rawlings that he has always been his hero.
True. That's true.
You
Does that
understand?
include?
He has always been his hero.
Yes.
He's always worshipped Rawlings. He's
Yes.
learned a lot from Rawlings.
I get
and
it.
so
No, I get
on.
arguments.
He said that himself.
I get argument. I get arguments about what
So
appears to be a
this
double
whole-
standard. It's not double standard. But the point I'm
So
trying to
if
make.
you rake up the past,
No, I understand
this
you.
is what you get.
I get it. But the
And
point.
indeed, in the 2016 elections,
Yes.
more or less, Mr. Rawlings campaigned for Nana Akufo-Addo.
Yes.
That's a fact.
Yes.
And when people said that he was arrogant, he was the one who made the press and said, no, he knows Nana Akufo-Addo. He's not arrogant at all. He's a very humble man and so on, knowledgeable. And Mr. Rawlings.
Yeah, but that's political convenience. Uncle,
whatever you call it, if you rake up the past,
this you also bring up some
there.
of these issues. All right. So let me read some of these messages. So Sani Saliu is a regular viewer of the show. He says that Assalamu alaikum. Important edifices and monuments all over the world are named after very prominent people, like OR Tambo International Airport in South Africa, Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. And there's also Nyasingbe Eyadema International Airport in Lome, and so on. Why should someone who helped to truncate our first republic should be given such prominence? Dr. Nkrumah is a political colossus, an international one for that matter. This academic, what? Hey, this is your word. I'm not sure I've come across it. Maybe you want to say acrobatics, I'm sure. It's not only healthy, but will help restore Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's dignity. Good morning. That's coming from Sani Salibu. Sedu Kwebu, who is also a regular viewer of this program, also sends this message. And he first of all says, in fact, his first message was in reference to our conversation about the Foreign Affairs of the Foreign Affairs Ministry's note verbal to the embassies. He says, request for bank statements is against the data protection laws of the countries of these embassies and high commissions. But we are so desperate for visas that we cannot even challenge these unlawful consular requests. He goes ahead to say, Honorable Adomako should do himself some good. The hospital that was commissioned had no beds. Former President Akufo-Addo commissioned just on computer buildings, not hospitals. If indeed he commissioned completed hospitals, why are they not functioning? Does Honorable Collins have any evidence that these hospitals receive patients even if they are, or even if they have outpatient clients? Yes, the NDC left the MP government 2.5 billion energy sector debt, but they also left ESLA. That was to be used to pay off the debt. They came into power in 2017 only to collateralize ESLA. Debt not paid, and they have left us with the same debt. Clearly in 8 years, no action had been taken to pay off the energy sector debts. And this one is called Mr. V. Says, Collins should give us a break. The MP government signed agreements with the World Bank to index fuel prices to the exchange rate. So what does he expect if the exchange rate goes up? Says Uncle V. That's his message. Simon says, please let the MPP MP mention the 3 hospitals and their locations. I want to go and verify. I am a journalist. That's of Simon's. Who is the Dean of the Parliamentary Press Corps. Prosper Ashikwe says, More, I'm very disappointed in my friend Collins today. Frankly, he's one of my favorite young politicians in recent years. Very rational and largely realistic, except for his narratives this morning. His pretentious rhetoric on the show this morning is astonishing. Tell him that His Excellency JM will be delivering the state of the domestic economy, bequeathed to Ghanaians and the selfless efforts employed to better it. I believe that at the end of the day tomorrow, Ghanaians will be given a consoling statement that would serve as an invitation to come help with the rebuilding effort and not these nation-wrecking machinations in the name of opposition. It's too early in the day. Musa Abattoir, I think he sent me a lot. He's been flashing me. Musa, if I don't read your message, I'll be in trouble this morning. But let me also read this from Makojo Boaf, who is also a regular viewer of the program. It says, Kwame Nkrumah's legacy is honored in several countries with monuments and streets bearing his name. Kwame Nkrumah should be made to sleep now. Ghana, the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park and Mausoleum in Accra is a prominent monument dedicated to his memory. The park features a museum, a presidential library, and a statue of Nkrumah. Guinea. Nkrumah's remains were initially buried in Guinea before being transferred to Ghana. A street in Conakry, Guinea's capital, is named after him. 2. Other African countries, streets and monuments dedicated to Nkrumah can also be found in other African countries, including Egypt, where it was educated, and Mali, which was part of the Ghana-Guinea-Mali Union. These tributes reflect Nkrumah's significant contributions to Pan-Africanism and his role in Ghana's independence movement. Kwame Nkrumah is recognized everywhere in the world. I don't know why this whole thing has been reduced to Kwame Nkrumah. Anyway. Musa Abattoir in Kumasi says, Mr. Moro, I completely agree that Kotoka International Airport should be renamed after Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. In fact, Nkrumah deserves far more than just KIA, which is KIA, being named in his honor. He's not just a Ghanaian icon, but a global asset whose contributions to African liberation and development remain unmatched. What exactly is Kotoka's position in Ghana's development, as alluded to by Mr. Kwesi Pratt? His name on our international airport is an indictment on the face of his country. It is time we correct the historical misstep and give Nkrumah the honor he truly deserves. Alhaji Hadi says that I totally agree with those calling for the change of our international airport. The name Kotoka should be removed from our international airport as a matter of urgency. It's not fair to this country. When you travel and come back into the country at our airport, the first thing you see is Kotoka signaling this was the man who overthrew the first president of Ghana. How can our airport be named Kotoka? It does not simply make sense to me. In fact, MPP as a political party are doing all they can to rewrite the history of the country, but they will not succeed. The airport should be named Ghana International Airport. In fact, it's one of the suggestions that have come up. Some say Accra International Airport and so on. I think organized labor, public servants, and private sector employees should be presented. Quite a number of messages. I'm not sure I'll be able to read all, but okay. Okay, so I'll leave the rest. I guess that we'll have to leave it here because we have just about 5 minutes to hit the top of the hour 10. Collins, and how's the party doing? In fact, there's this argument that I read in one of the online portals. I've forgotten exactly who said it, but the person was arguing that, to the extent that the party has sanctioned a committee, the Professor Michael Quay committee, to look into what exactly may have resulted or caused your rather abysmal defeat. This regional thing that is happening, where, for instance, the Ashanti region has also commissioned a similar report, and we saw the Ashanti regional chairman, what's the name of this guy, Buntumi, receiving the report, the chairman Sabon's report, and that the party ought to find a way of streamlining things. You can't have one report and they have regional reports as well.
It's just complementary.
It's just complementary. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay. Sorry, I read from this guy, this PK Sapon.
The regional executive met in Ashanti, commissioned a committee to go around to solicit views. The last meeting we attended, I'm told that the national has even contacted the regional to see how best they could collaborate on the reports that have already been. So I don't think it's injurious. There's nothing injurious about it. It's very complimentary.
It's very complimentary.
Fortunately, the Ashanti one leaked very quickly.
Yeah.
But the national one has not been completed. I'm sure a lot of the things that the region found out will also find itself in the national report. So let's see how it goes.
I think its challenge is that which of these reports is the national executive going to be working with?
Of course, the one that has been commissioned by the national executive. As I said, it's just complementary.
Right. So there's nothing.
There's no conflict. No, there's no conflict about it.
Okay.
And I suspect that some of the things that have come up in the regional report will find its way in the national reports. It's just part of the whole rebuilding process. The party, of course, at the crossroads, went to an election, lost. Finding ways to understand what exactly went on.
He says the regional postmortem survey should not have been conducted in the first place. If all other regions had defied the national party's directives and went ahead to conduct their own surveys, what would have been the results? We do not need any chaotic situation as a party. The draft should not have come out, even if the regional body went out of his way to conduct the survey. The national survey holds supremacy over any regional survey that might have been conducted.
Absolutely. And I don't think the regional party disobeyed the national party. In fact, at the time the regional executive commissioned this committee, the national one had not even started. So I don't think, and I'm saying that it should be complementary in nature. It shouldn't bring any confusion.
Any confusion. All right. Okay, so this is where we draw the curtain on today's edition of Good Morning Ghana, and I want to say a big thanks to you, Collins Aduma Komenta. You're the Member of Parliament for Fija, Kwabre North, and also Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr., the Managing Editor of the Inside Newspaper. It's always a pleasure hosting you on Good Morning Ghana. And my name is Awudu Moro. Thank you very much for joining us once again. We appreciate your time. We honestly and sincerely do. And coming up next is Metro Sports. The team is ready. So please stay with us. Don't go anywhere. Have a good day. Bye.